is called Mayapur Mellows.
Yeah, it's fantastic, Prabhuji. Very nice to hear. Ecstatic.
Yes, it's they're different. Often they have been doing for a few years as well now, but they have recently started. But rather they've been doing for many years.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's you just let it go, or somebody elderly we have to take care recently, and he was with us, and whenever he would hear this, because most of the time in the house it's going on, even while working from home, in the background we are listening, and he felt so good. So while he was there with us for a couple of weeks, and when he was leaving, he said, I'm going to miss this. This is so transcendental. And every time he will hear, he said, oh, whatever you would do in the background, you always have that going. And it was amazing, amazing. Well, as you said, Prabhuji, it's a great experience just to witness. And this is the best use of technology which we are making, I guess.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. So let's go. Let's have Mangalacharan, and then we shall resume back and hopefully conclude Mantra 9 today. Ajnana-timirandasya jnana-shalakaya Chakshurandilitam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manavishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Tadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shredaram Shreduram Vaishnavam Shredupam Sajivam Sagadedam Savadutam Paridhanam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Radhavitam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Santa Radha Namostute Tapta Kancana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Kale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama
Hari
Rama Rama Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada ki jai,
Jai.
Guru Maharaj ki jai, jai jai Shri Radhe Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone in today's Shri Īśopaniṣad session. And I was just saying, the next week is Easter week, so kids are breaking, so we won't be able to, because we are flying out or early morning on first. So unfortunately, we won't be able to do the session on first. Hence, I thought it's better if we, rather than starting mantra 10 today, we conclude mantra 9, and we couldn't do the justice to the third presentation we have. So let's go through that today. And then mantra 9 gives the foundation for the whole batch of mantra 9, 10, and 11, which is on the knowledge and the understanding. Now, these days, we say that knowledge is on the fingertips, especially for kids as well. And kids have now started saying that rather than asking parents, we will just ask Alexa or on Google, because everything is there. So it's not a major issue providing the knowledge to children, but the wisdom which they need to distinguish between what's good knowledge and what's not. And that's where the Shastras, they come into picture, because in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 17, 3 different categories of knowledge, understanding being given. The whole chapter 17 is the 3 classification of many things: the food, the thinking, the thoughts, the actions, the knowledge, the understanding could be. So it could be the same knowledge, but based on the same knowledge, different people could understand different things. So it's not only the understanding we need, but we need it's not only the knowledge we need, but we need the sense of understanding which could transform that knowledge into wisdom. Otherwise, if the glass is half full or half empty, it really depends how we perceive the world. And this is what the Jnana Chakshu, the Shastra Chakshu, the eyes, the knowledge of the Shastra, the Jnana comes from the Shastra, or we say Guru, Sadhu, Shastras. The Guru, the spiritual master, provides the instructions, and then the Sadhu, because the Gurus are of 2 types. One, initiation, the Guru who initiates us, the initiating Guru, and the second is the Siksha Guru. So initiation Guru, the Siksha Guru. The Siksha Guru is the one who gives Siksha to us. And I have the whole book on Siksha. And it's just right here while I thought of it. I got this from Paris. And this whole book is on Siksha Guru. Because many other places we will see where the spiritual seekers, they look for spiritual guidance. They go to India, or if you're already in India, there are many gurus around, many gurus. And most of the time they will initiate, they will give the blessings. But how ISKCON is different, and Anil Prabhuji, you would remember this is kind of conversation we were having last time as well, that how ISKCON is different. But in
Yes.
ISKCON, very good, yes. In ISKCON, not only that we have initiating gurus, of course, it takes like 2 years to get to the platform where we could initiate. It's not one of those where I remember someone said to my mom once that, come with us, we are going on this trip to Rajasthan, I think, and there's a guru there, and he will initiate you straight away, and you will get the blessings, which is great to have the blessings of the sages. But where initiation comes that easy, that quickly, then we need to understand that are we qualified enough to get the initiation, and have we spent some time understanding the guru, the person we are making guru. So that's one big major part of ISKCON Disciple Course, IBC. And through that, we learn that before we commit to a guru, we have the whole right to follow the guru, to question guru. So Radhanath Swamiji Maharaj got many disciples, and he doesn't accept disciples straight away. He says, question me. Check me if I'm good enough to be your guru. I might not be. But of course, once you accept a guru, then we fully surrender to guru. But not only initiating gurus, but ISKCON gives us a great, massive opportunity of the family where we have Siksha gurus, and we all are, could be each other's Siksha gurus. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, in Canto 11, so there are 12 cantos in Srimad Bhagavatam, roughly 18,000 verses. Canto 11, and I think it's chapter 3, which gives us the pastime of Avadut Brahman, a sage, not even a Brahman, but the sage. It could be Brahman by qualities, but a sage who had the conversation with the king, and the king asks, and then and I have another book where this, so the king asks that, how did you get all this, what you are looking for? What you have? And sorry, I was looking for the book here in the bookshelf. But then that sage said, in my life, I have made many gurus, but I will tell you about 22 gurus I have made. And then he started explaining those gurus, most of them were living, but some were also non-living, like what I've learned from sun, what I've learned from trees. Trees, of course, could be living, or are living. But we need to understand that when we are ready, then we can learn from anyone and everyone. Yesterday, day before yesterday, we were having a discussion with another friend of mine who shared the pastime of Ramayana, where in Ramayana, when Hanumanji visited Lanka and met Ravan, and Hanumanji, very humble, and he said that Ravan, you need to understand, you got Mother Sita here. We cannot separate Mother Sita from Lord Rama. So still you have the time. Please come with me. Return Mother Sita and ask for forgiveness. Lord Rama is so merciful. He will forgive all your sins. And Ravan, being a great king, as he used to think he was, he thought, what? My circumstances are so bad that I need to take advice from a monkey. And this is what my friend shared with me, that what Hanumanji replied there was a great teaching for us. And again, this gives us the beauty of Vedic culture, that no one needs to be a Hindu to learn something from the Vedic culture. And currently Navratri going on, so we are fasting for 9 days, and then we will celebrate Ram Navami on 9th day. So during these times, we always cater and ponder over the lessons we learn from Ramayana and from all different characters in Ramayana. So Hanumanji replied when Ravan said, my circumstances are so bad that I will have to learn something from a monkey. Again, being very humble, Hanumanji replied that if there is something good to learn, we should learn from anyone, at any position, at any time. We should be that eager. Now imagine if we could pass that message to our kids. Of course, we try all the time, but whether we are succeeding or not, that's a different thing. But learning doesn't end. The experience we get it. So that's where we get the sense of Siksha Gurus. And ISKCON is full of Siksha Gurus. Being the family, we always say God brothers, God mothers, and God sisters, and we always help each other getting. So there is no competition, but there is a lot of cooperation. We work, we serve together, try to help each other to get progress a bit further in this spiritual journey, because this spiritual journey is personal, very, very personal between us and Krishna. Hare Krishna. So very, 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 very nicely we had discussed this. Anything you would like to add, Anil Prabhuji? Feel free, please, anytime.
Yeah, Prabhuji, the only thing I can remember at this point in time is, one pastime of Lord Dattatreya.
Yes.
I think when I was hearing from you, I was just recalling that pastime in my head. He also learned from a lot of living beings and ended up making
True.
Īśo as his guru.
Yes, Prabhuji. When
Precisely,
I sorry.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't precisely remember the whole pastime, but yeah, I just remember I just remember the high level of the whole
Mhm.
pastime.
Yes. No, Prabhuji, you're right. And I'm looking for the book. I definitely have a book. I have actually a couple of books, maybe with the kids in kids' rooms. But you're right. When I mention Avadut, so in Bhagavatam, actually, it doesn't say that in the shloka, in Sanskrit shloka, it says Avadut Brahman. But well, actually, Avadut as a sage, as a saint. But in the translation, in the purport, many explains that that Avdut mentioned in Bhagavatam was Dattatreya Muni.
Okay, okay, okay.
So yes, give the example of 22, I think 22 or 24 unique teachers, which is a great teachers. And I have actually put together a presentation, or not me. Sorry, I can't take the credit for that. In our children class, one of the child created a presentation for us, and I will try to find that and maybe worth going through. It was a beautiful presentation, and for each teacher, what we could learn from that, what the Tatre Muni or Adut as a sage learned from that teacher, and that teaching after so many years is still so much valid for us. So much.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Yes, indeed. Hare Krishna. So this is what we were discussing last time. Of course, we have the spiritual knowledge, and then we have the material knowledge, and we are right in the middle. We try to, and this is what most of the devotees, especially somebody like myself, being grhasta, we try to make the balance of it, right? So we are not one of those who live in the temple and who would always be spiritual. We have a material job to look after. But of course, in the society, we need everyone. We need the Brahmins who learn and who teach. So there are 6 qualities of Brahmins given in the Shastra. Many different places, many qualities are given, the 6 main ones. And out of those 6, there are the main top 2 are that they learn and they teach. So you learn yourself the Shastras and you share the knowledge with others. That's what Brahmins do. And if we see, for example, His Holiness Swayam Bhagwan Keshav Maharaj Ji, and I was actually listening. So if I share that very quickly. So this is from Maharaj Ji, and it says 5 habits which make your day beautiful. SB Keshav Swamiji Maharaj, so Swam Bhagwan Keshav Maharaj Ji. And this is what a pure devotee, a Brahmin, would ideally do, would learn, and of course would practice what you have learned. And then when you truly realize that, then you share it with everyone. So I was just going through, I haven't completed yet, but this is what Brahmins do. But not only Brahmins, we need the politicians, we need the rulers, we need the leaders, and they are called Kshatriyas. And then we need the people who run corporates, who run the businesses, and they are the Vaishyas. And then we need the Shudras, who will do most of the time the legwork. They are the ones who follow. Politicians could be considered as the leaders, and those who follow could be considered as the Shudras. At the same time, if you think about it, we need the Brahmacharis, we need the Sannyasis, but in between we need the Grihastha. It says Grihastha, their role is that they are the ones who support all 3. Because if you think about, we have Brahmins, we have, brahmacharis, and then we have the grihastha, then we could have a vanprastha, which kind of deluded these days because doesn't really matter how old the parents or grandparents get. They don't really want to leave the family. And not only that, they don't have to leave, but they still get so attached to the family and the family matters. Whereas that time should be spent in their spiritual advancement. And then sannyas is, of course, when you completely detach. So Maharaji is a sannyasi now, if you think about. He has taken sannyas, but there are many brahmacharis. So before sannyas, he was a brahmachari. He skipped grihastha altogether. But there are many others, great devotees like Radha Govinda Prabhuji is there. I was talking to him yesterday. And Radha Govinda Prabhuji was probably a monk, a brahmachari for 10 years living in the temple. And he recently got married to Mataji, Kishori Yogini Devi Dasi. And Mataji has been working great as well. And both of them, they are grihastha, they are married, and they are still full-time devotees. So even when we are grihastha, we could do it. But, and this is what most of the time we do. So we should not really feel bad about it. But yes, because if you think about it, brahmacharis, the grihastha, vanprasthi, and the sannyasis, out of all those four, the grihastha, they are the ones who earn money. Hence, they are the ones who earn money to financially support the rest of the three. So if you think about, we have the children in our family who are brahmacharis, and then we might have the retired parents in the family, and they are the one. So even though they are not going to one, they are one plus. They are still in the family, but they have done their duties of supporting the family. Now they should support the society. So the knowledge and the skills they have gained, they should start working voluntarily, if we think about it most of the time. Financially, they are independent, and then they are helping the society. And of course, working towards their own spiritual growth. And then sannyasi, when at the end they realize that that's it. Now, not for the society anymore, completely engrossed in my home. Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji did exactly the same. Last 12 years of his, he stayed at one place, and even before that, he inaugurated Hare Krishna movement. The last 12 years, he spent completely, even last 8 years, even more secluded, just working on his. So he was Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji, the Lord himself. He came in the form of a devotee, and he illustrated how the devotees should work. And then, right. So this is what we have already seen. So mantra 9, mantra 10, and mantra 11. And we have discussed this. We have seen this knowledge and ignorance. We discussed in the last few weeks, we've been discussing. So what the knowledge is and what the ignorance is. The knowledge of the sense gratification might not be as, so it's good that we have the knowledge, but knowledge of what really matters. Sometimes it's good to be ignorant about it, because if we have the knowledge, then we might able to. If you think about a lot of cyber attacks happening these days, why? These people, they have such a great knowledge, right? So knowledge, it says, is power. And sometimes it's good not to have that knowledge, or not to have that power, which we cannot control, right? So in Hindi, there is a saying that Bhagwan Ishwara, Bhagwan Ganje ko nakhun na de, which means we kind of we pray to the Lord that those who are born who don't have hairs, they don't get the nails. Why? Because most of the time with their fingers, people scratch their head. And if the hairs are not there, they will scratch their bald head. Which means if those who can't control themselves, it's better for them not to be in power. And that's a point Srila Prabhupada ji raised so many times, that Shudras are always supposed to follow the Kshatriyas leaders. But when Shudras, they become leaders, they become politicians, then the corruption happens, because they don't know how to control the power. So in that case, it's better for them not to be in power. It's better for them to be ignorant. Right? A lot of times this happens, especially in military, in politics, in businesses. Not all the knowledge is shared with everyone. Right? In any company we work, there are always what we call the trade secrets. They are not shared with everyone. Only selective leaders, what we call senior leadership, they only know, and they are the only ones who will get into that. Others would just follow their decisions. So if you think that Vedic culture is prominent, it's there evidently, but whether we realize it or not, however, of course, if we are conscious enough, we will practice it the way it should be done, the way it was done in Vedic culture, in Vedic time. So that's knowledge and ignorance. What is knowledge? Being explained much better. As for Vidya is concerned, the first mantra is explained very clearly that the Supreme Lord is the proprietor. So this is what we know. Īśopaniṣad principle. Īśopaniṣad principle is that everything belongs to Krishna. And if you remember that's the knowledge. That's the knowledge we need. If we don't get that, a spiritual foundation, then the material success, how long it will last. And such a beautiful illustration is that everything belongs to Krishna, but we misidentify us. And this misidentification is what we call the ego. So we call it false ego. So the body, so we have two bodies. One is the gross body, what we can see, we can touch this material body, we can touch the skin. We have the senses, how we interact with the world. But this is all external. This gross body is all external. Of course, we can go a bit internal where we have the muscles, we have the bones, but this is all gross. If we go subtle, then we have the brain, the mind, and when I said brain, that's referred as intelligence. The intelligence on the positive side, then the mind in between, and then false ego. Now we always say false ego. Now people usually say, well, ego is bad enough. What do you mean by false ego? False ego is actually misidentification. Ego is I. I is the identification. But misidentification is what's bad. Identification is not bad. I can say I'm a devotee. I can say I'm a servant. I can say I'm the one. I'm the part and parcel of Krishna. Right? I'm very minute part, just a drop in the ocean. The analogy being explained by Srila Prabhupada a number of times. I'm just that drop, right? So that is a real identity. Right? It's again the same in the shopping complex, in the grocery shop. The cashiers are there. They're collecting the cash. They will not get attached to that cash, will they? Because they know that my job is just to collect this money, not for me. Because it all belongs to the owner of the shop, owner of the franchisee. And this is, so that real identification, the real attachment is what makes us, whether it's a real identity or it's a misidentity. But most of the times we misidentify ourselves, and that's why we are bound by three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. If we will identify everything, if you remember mantra 1 of Shri Īśopaniṣad, Īśopaniṣad, it's everything belongs to Ishvara. Everything belongs to Ishwar. We just been given these things as ingredients, and how we could utilize them. How we could utilize them. Not, remember, this is how materially we live most of the time. Where we are cutting the same branch. But even worse, when this could be like brahmachari, somebody who is alone in the young age, leave all the spiritual side aside and more materially motivated, hard work. And we got many of them, especially in London. If you think about it, all over the place, all over the world, people come in London to be materially successful. And sometimes they don't even take care of their body. Of course, they don't take care of their mental balance. And these days, mental stability is such a great topic. All the corporates, they are working. So in the company I work for, we do meditations, regular meditations. And so this is what company organized, meditations for everyone. And there was an article being released. I don't know whether it's very new. It's relatively new anyways, within a couple of years. But in England, so this is on BBC, when in England, a couple, because the rate of divorces getting higher and higher, and the government thinking what to do. We don't want, because of course, whenever the divorces happen, a lot of negative energy goes down, right? People sometimes lose their job, and it's a big impact on the social system for the government. So they don't want people to split. They don't want people to be separated. But when so the process, what I understood after reading that article, that when a couple is married and the couple will approach the court for divorce, that we want to be separated, we want to take the divorce, then the court always seek the advice from the counselor. They always give the counseling. They say, okay, you want to take divorce, before you come to us, go find this counselor, we will pay for it, and try to make this marriage work. And then the counselor will suggest few things. Now, out of those few things, one thing is meditation. That you should do some meditation. And a lot of times, a couple used to just say, oh, well, okay, 6 months we will try and we'll come back. And they wouldn't try, and they would come back. And of course, because they didn't try the things, they won't get the benefit. They will come back and they're still in the same state of mind, and they will get divorced. Now the government has released the bill, the law, that the counselor needs the proof that for 6 months you have done the marriages. If you would come back without doing meditation, then we will not give you divorce, but we will also fine you. Imagine the Western world. So meditation is not new in in India and the countries around, like in Tibet, Bhutan, Buddhism. It's not new at all. They have always been doing meditation. But even in West, they have realized that marriages could be saved just by few hours of meditation throughout the year. And mindfulness is, in last few years, has been a great asset to all the corporates. So like a corporate, so I work for a corporate, there are like 40,000 people globally working in this company. And they have realized that when they do the mindful sessions, then the employees are more productive, right? So now, do we think that this person is productive? Well, he's definitely busy doing actions and will definitely lose some energy out, but at the end will lose his own existence, will definitely fall down. But what's worse than this, that not only that we do it with ourselves, we do it with our family as well. We enjoy sense gratification, keep ourselves in growth, but we get our partners, our children on the same route, We know what's right, and we know we could not do it. So how many times we have discussed this, that, oh, I know chanting is good, I should do it. I know reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita is good. I know doing some courses are good. Getting in association is doing good. but I just don't get time. But we don't get time for the spiritual because we have committed our time somewhere else. We have, right? We always say, when we don't have time for something, it only tells us one thing, that that particular thing is not the priority for us. There is no other reason, no other justification, no excuse whatsoever. If we haven't found time for something, only means that that thing is not a priority for us, not a priority yet, right? Not a priority yet. It could be anything, and we have experienced this during our workplaces. We knew something we need to do for a while, but we will do it, we will keep postponing until one day that thing will become priority. We will drop everything and we will make time for it. We will make time for it. And whether we are in that foolishness, and it says active foolishness. So these people, they're very active and they are not different than others. They are not different than ourselves. Some people might be active foolish for most of their life, but others who are still on a spiritual path, maybe the percentage will reduce a bit, because no one becomes pure devotee straight away, overnight. It's always gradually developing it through. But we just need to be conscious and we should realize it. So we have done now. So this is what another point from Srila Prabhupada's purpose, that old wine in new bottle. Right? This is where we could say that the Vedic culture. So Gauranga Prabhuji, there is a on YouTube channel My Ashray, which is by Amog Leela Prabhuji in Delhi and Dwarka Temple. He's the vice president there, I think. Amog Leela Prabhuji has been doing great service for many years now, many great lectures. And he recently kind of interviewed half an hour, 25 minutes with Gauranga Prabhuji. Gauranga Prabhuji is the director of the Govardhan Eco Village in near Mumbai. And I think it's between Mumbai, Surat and Nasik. Between these three places, Nasik or Nagpur? Between these three places, Govardhan Eco Village is there. And he's the one who established by the mercy of his spiritual master, Radhanath Swamiji Maharaj. So Amog Leela Prabhuji interviewed Gauranga Prabhuji. And then Gauranga Prabhuji was sharing his knowledge. He is an IITian and he was about to go to US. He had admissions in MIT. And then he asked his teacher, Maharajji, Radhanath Swamiji Maharaj. Radhanath Swamiji Maharaj said, so Gauranga Prabhuji said that I was thinking that like Srila Prabhupadaji's spiritual teacher, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, said to Srila Prabhupadaji that go to West and teach them in English because your English is great. So Gauranga Prabhuji said the same thing, that I think I would go to America, there are many temples there, I will preach there. And he was kind of expecting that Srila Prabhupadaji's teacher said to him that you could go to the West and do, and he has done a great job. So His Holiness Radhanath Swamiji Maharaj himself is from America. So he should not have any trouble, he will just send me there. But Maharajji's reply was that simple, that if you want bhog, if you want sense gratification, go to America. But if you want yoga, if you like to connect to the Lord, then stay in India. And that's it. He only said that much. And then Gauranga Prabhuji said that then I made the mission for my life that I will become a professor of Vedic culture. So I would now spread Vedic culture in new modern ways. Because the old way it's been written, the old way it's been presented, it's not attracting to the millennials, to these youngsters, to the young age, the modern age. So now the way he has been putting together, if we see the whole Govardhan Eco Village, is the whole package. And it attracts one and all. It will attract children, it will attract those who are only on the bodily platform, who just like to go and do yoga and just try to comfort themselves with massages, do some Ayurvedic, but also for those who would like to do meditations. And of course, the whole point is to give the Krishna Prema, and the beautiful temple is there in the great environment, and he's working with local farms. So the old wine in a new bottle. So the devotees, they try to preach in any different ways available. And of course, a lot of time, many creative ways. And Anil Prabhuji is a great example. Anil Prabhuji started following, I think, was it digital preaching, Prabhuji? Digital. There was another devotee called Digital Preacher, and I know you started doing that as well, very successfully indeed.
Yes, Prabhuji. So it was a blend of, to be honest, it was a blend of face-to-face and digital teaching. But I think digital teaching took a very high priority or preference at the time of COVID, as we know. And that's when we actually did more of digital since then.
Very well. Very well. Very nice. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Yes, yeah. And yes, all those different means we have, as long as the motive is the same, that we would like to preach, we would like to extend this mission even further. And the reason why devotees would like to do it, that so somebody, because the Easter is coming, two senior citizens, they came and they knocked the door. I went there and they shared the pamphlet with me, and they invited me to their church. And I said, if I could make it, I will definitely come. And I really appreciate their efforts for their own religion. They are doing the volunteer work, try to go out, even though weather wasn't supportive, but they were out there. But why? Why these devotees would love to do this? Because for only one thing, because they have found something, that Satya Chitta Anand, right? Which now, because of the compassion they have in their heart, they would like to share with others. That's the only reason. They don't expect. So the devotees, the preachers, they don't expect, and we should never expect anything back in return. The whole idea is that because we have compassion for the humankind, we would just like to share what we have, what we really have. Some a couple of friends of mine, they really love music. And I've just shared, this morning I shared one of the YouTube clip where, and it's such a, which I never knew. I was reading some comments on that. So the YouTube channel is Krishna Dasa music. And you might have heard Prabhuji. So this is what the Prabhuji looks like. And this, if we see, this is only for 15 minutes. Some of the comments I was reading there, so the first three, if we see, it says, I'm a Muslim girl and listen your bhajans every day. My mornings start with this. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful way of it. Right? And then if you go further, then you can see, I'm American, but I love Indian culture. Right? And then we go down, I'm a Sikh girl and respect all the spiritual gurus. Paths could be different, but destination is one. Beautiful illustration that how, when somebody's heart is so pure, it doesn't really matter which religion, which culture, which background someone comes from. And that's why the name of the Lord in any language, so transcendental. You wouldn't realize, because remember, whether we call ourselves Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, or whether we call ourselves American, Russian, Ukraine, all these are bodily identification, isn't it? Somebody who is American today could move to UK and then say, well, I'm British now. Somebody who was born in India or whose parents were born in India could be here and say, this is just the body. This is just because physically I was born here, or because I've adapted somebody's culture, or I have adopted different culture, different religion. These things could change. But me, the soul, and that connection with Krishna, for everyone would be same. And now someone might say Krishna and others might say different. And there's another story where different people from different culture were staying in a temple. And so they roamed around, they had a great time. Now it was the time for them to go back to their own countries. So they came together for a project. And a lot of time this happens. Like a friend of mine, a childhood friend of mine from India, he has been there in Middle East for long, but he was sent from there to Scotland. And they were on that particular project. It was the time when the banking, he's a CA. At that time, the banking system was crashing. Unfortunately, it's happening again now. But that time, a task force was put together by Scotland government. And he was one of those experts in the world. He was invited, he came. And he said there are like 10 people and all 10 are from different countries because they all are expert in their field. So something similar happened. There were like 4 or 5 people there. They were from different countries, worked together. Now they are going to go back and they only have limited money, the budget together. And 4 of them said that I want to buy this thing. And they all 4 said the different thing. And they had different names. And the others didn't even know those names because they were taking the names of their own language. So people didn't know what others are asking, but there was one person who was like a coordinator who knew all 4 languages a bit, said, okay, because the trouble happened that they only had so much budget, they could only get one thing, not 4, but all 4 wanted their things. So what happened? This coordinator came around and said, he said, give me your money. Within this money, I will get all those things, all 4 will be satisfied. He went out, he came back, and this is like a folk tale. He came back with grapes. And then all 4 were happy. Why? Because all 4 wanted grapes, but they were addressing grapes in their own language. They all 4 wanted to have, because it was the time of, it was like a monsoon time. The grapes were really, really famous in that part of the world. So they all 4, while living there, they wanted to take some grapes back home. But they all were asking in their own language. And this is what's happening, that maybe different religion, different culture got different name for Krishna, right? Even in Vedic culture, we go Vishnu Sahasranam, right? Sahasranam. Like, now, there are so many different names. It's the same person. It's the same Lord we have. Well, we just keep fighting because different people call him or address him differently. And this is what the words, when the word says that the ignorance is good, that even those scientists we have, because their education is godless, they are doing bad. So this is the example where the Twin Towers were hit. So those people were pilots, right? That's a great skill. So we really, really need to be conscious that what skill we get or where we could get. And it says, so this is by Martin Luther King Jr. Our scientific power has outrun our spiritual power. Such a powerful statement. Our scientific, and this is like in America, the time America was leading, our scientific power has outrun our spiritual power. We have guided missiles and misguided men. Isn't it true? We have guided missiles. So those who are in Air Force, if you think about it, they're missiles who are guided. we can lock the aim. And even if the aim is moving, the missile will still hit the moving target. And this was a great success in aviation. That even if the target is moving, the missile will still hit the target, because now the target is not based on geographical location, but tracing that object. But the missiles are guided, the people are misguided. They aim for wrong thing. And of course, we have seen when the atomic bomb was dropped. That was not the purpose of the invention, was it? Nuclear fission, nuclear fusion, the energy we get, how many villages are there still in this modern age which are out without energy? We could make best use of that. Hare Krishna. Anil Prabhuji, would you like to add something? Please.
Yeah. Prabhuji, the only I just wanted to add to the fact that all religions, they basically point out to the same thing. I think yes, definitely they point out to the same thing. The only difference comes up when people, according to their whims and fancies, they alter the rules of the religion. I think that's where when religions start taking different meanings. But I think the goal is the same, as of educating people, like the basic principle, like we are not the body, we are the soul, and the existence of the soul, it continues after the body gives up. The principle that every religion subscribes to, but then the moment they introduce their own whims and fancies, it really changed the religion. Yeah. We for example, we have the other day we went for a family outing, and we realized that even in the ancient times, the whole rules of the churches or holy places, they were altered just to serve the individual purposes of the monarchs or kings and things like that. So sometimes the powerful people who have the religion over control, who have the control over the religion, sorry, they will alter the rules by the virtue of their power to suit their own and fancies. And that's how I think the separation has come about.
Very true. Very true, friends. Very true. And the whole, when we say the Church of England, and this is coming from a Christian who said that because the king didn't want to follow the rules of the existing church, well, he started his own church. So yeah, you're right. That those who, and this is what we said, that what Prabhupada said, that the Kshatriyas are the leaders, and only those who have that wisdom should become the leaders, and the Brahmins are always there to assist them, to help them. And you're right. You're right. Thank you so much for your realization, Prabhu. Thank you for sharing. This is Hare Krishna. So the process of understanding Vedic teachings is indeed right. And Hare Krishna, Mataji. So good to see you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Now, just something to add to what Prabhuji told just now. Thing is, there are different people in the world. They will try to manipulate us. They'll try to do different things. But we have to follow sadhu shastras, and we have to be firm in what we are. If we are not firm, that's when the deviation happens. But if we are firm and we are steady on our path, even if it's a simple path, we just want to follow that, then I think we should be free from these influences, from outside influences. It's very strong, Maya. I know it's very strong influence, the outside influence, but we have to be strong. This is because the people are becoming meek and weak-hearted. That's when they get taken for a ride by people who are powerful. And these are the people, meek people, as somebody who are not into the religion, and they get so much in awe of people who are in power. And that's where the problem is. There's all material things.
Very, very, very point, Mataji. Thank you so much for sharing. This is what it is. And this is what the Hare Krishna movement, ISKCON is trying to do, that if somebody is sitting there in the darkness, then you can go and you can tell the person that you are in the darkness. But rather than telling, because the person might not realize, because person is conditioned. We all are conditioned of that darkness. But if somebody will just go and switch the light on, then the person will realize, oh, right, this is the light and we've been in darkness. And this is what the whole movement is, systematically study of the culture, the religion, the Vedas. So the knowledge will transform into wisdom. And then, as you said, those who could take the advantage will not able to take the advantage, because now we are in much better position. Great points you raised it there, Mataji. Thank you so much for it.
Thank you,
Hare-
Mata. That was
Hare Krishna. So such a great point and such a great timing as well for it to conclude that we have concluded mantra 9 here. So I will post it again in the group, but unfortunately, I think we have our flight early morning on 1st of April because of the Easter break. And so we will not able to do the session then, but the following we should be back. And then we will start mantra 10 and we shall resume our Shri Īśopaniṣad journey. With that, Srila Prabhupada ki
Ki
jai,
jai.
Gurudev Maharaj ki
Ki
jai,
jai.
Jai Jai Shri
Shri
Radhe Shri.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare